Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is War Train here. If you're new, do me a favor, please subscribe and click the notification bell down below so you guys can be notified of all my new videos. And if you guys enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it to your friends. Today's video, guys, is going to be completely different than anything I've ever done. And this was actually something that a subscriber of mine named George. That's all we'll say. We'll just call him George. And you know who you are, George. And thanks for following me since the beginning. Um, he asked me in a message. I got a comment where he was asking me if I could do a video, basically explaining how I got into collecting, and he didn't specify, but basically who I am and how I got into this with the games and the collecting and probably the YouTube channel and all this stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. Well, first of all, if you guys are watching this video, this is not clickbait. So just hang through the video and listen to everything that I have to say here, and you will totally get it. But it goes back to when I was a kid. I was born in 1980, and I lived in the country when I was really little. And my parents, I don't know if they really enjoyed video games because they were kind of new and exciting, or if they just wanted to get them for me and my brothers and sisters just because they didn't want us to be super bored, especially in the winter time. When it was cold, you couldn't really go outside a whole lot. Wasn't much to do. I didn't live by town, so. But regardless, they had a ColecoVision for us. We had Ataris, and we played a bunch of games with my parents together as kids. I remember playing Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and Q*bert and Super Mario, or just Mario Brothers before Super Mario Brothers, but lots of Donkey Kong, Q*bert, the Smurfs. Um, I'm probably missing tons of other games, but those were the ones I stand out the most until and like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man in the arcade, and Donkey Kong, lots of that. Yeah, tons of that. But so I always enjoyed this stuff. And then the NES came out. Me and my brother got that for Christmas, and Duck Hunt, Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda. I mean, we just went nuts. I mean, really, I want to say that we had like the first couple games, like I even think maybe even before Super Mario Brothers, we didn't get that with the launch system. I want to say that we got that later when it came out because it didn't come at launch. But we had like Excite Bike and stuff. But then we got Super Mario Brothers and Punch Out and Metroid and Legend of Zelda and just all these big games. All the major games and tons of other games. Ghosts and Goblins was always a one that I really liked playing as a kid, but always playing games. Then as time went by, it was Sega Genesis and um, let's see, TurboGrafx 16, and then Super Nintendo, and then after a while, I'm hanging out with other friends. They got real 3DO, and then PlayStation 1 we're playing, and then, I'm older now, have a job, can buy Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, just and on, Xbox, PlayStations, all that stuff, up to the current games and current systems. So always been into playing games and having consoles and gaming, period. Pretty much watched the rise, fall of arcades. Always was in arcades as a kid. Anytime I went to a mall, I went right to the arcade and pretty much stayed there until my parents were ready to drag me out to leave. Pizza places, arcades, pinball, bowling alleys, pinball, arcade games, just nonstop. Lots of games growing up. And as I got older, same thing. But how I got into having a YouTube and channel and everything, that's we'll get there. So basically, my name is Jeremy. The War Train is the account that I used since like Xbox beginning, and PlayStation, their first online stuff. When I first set it up, it was always the War Train. It's still my account, the War Train account. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. It was something. I had a friend. He always talked about the path of the War Train. I thought that sounded awesome. Just the War Train. I thought that sounded so cool. And when I had to come up with a name, I don't know why it was the only thing I could think of. I always thought of Mortal Kombat. War Train wins, flawless victory. I always thought that sounded so cool in my head. Especially I was younger, But I picked that name and I thought it was cool. And then I played with people, and they know me as that because online you just know people as their gamer tag. Let's face it. Probably lots of people by all kinds of weird names. So that name kind of stuck. And plus on YouTube, you need a name, and pretty much anything you'd want is taken. So there's that too. But yeah, so that friend unfortunately had passed away too. So that name also means a little more to me. But besides that, I'm actually a union electrician. I work in North New Jersey. Well, I work in New Jersey. I actually live in Pennsylvania, but I travel. So I've been doing electrical work for about 20 years professionally, and it's not an easy job, but it's just what I do. And let's see, when I was about 18, I had an aneurysm on my heart valve, and I got lucky. I was in a car accident. I went to the hospital, and lucky for me, they listened to my heart, seen that there was something wrong with it, sent me to the ER, and I got it checked. I found out I had an aneurysm, which I couldn't even believe that this was happening to me. And I was 18. Like this, I'm like, this isn't supposed to happen to me. So I almost died, but I had my aorta valve replaced to get the aneurysm cut out, and because it was started to burst while I was in the hospital. So luckily I was there, but I had it removed. I got I got a human heart valve then, because the alternative was a pig or artificial. Artificial can last long term, but you're on blood thinners for life. Well, I was 18. I couldn't have got blood work like once every week or whatever. I couldn't do continuous blood work and take nightly medication, and it was just too much, and they knew that, so that wasn't even an option. And a pig valve, or I think at the time maybe, yeah, it was a pig or a cow. I think it was a pig. Yeah, it was a pig valve. So a pig valve, heart valve, only lasted 4 to 8 years, and that was kind of short. They didn't want to have to cut my chest open that soon. So luckily for me, I mean, not lucky for the person that gave it to me, but I had a human heart valve donated. Obviously, somebody had to die for me to get it. So ever since then, I became a organ donor on my license and stuff. I made sure of it because of that reason. Because I believe in karma. Why not? I'm going to be dead. So if somebody helped me, I'd like to help somebody else if I could. But so yeah, I got that replaced, and I was somewhat healthy from then on, and years went by, and in that time, I'm playing games, living my life, learning my career, all this stuff. Amassing games through the years, consoles, selling them, starting over, buying them, selling them. I mean, I don't know why I always would amass all these consoles and big collections of games. Then I'd sell them all, and then I'd get them back, different ones, and then I'd sell them. It was stupid. I wish I never did that because a lot of them games would be cool to have, and probably games that I'll never have again. But yeah, then the heart valve had the lifespan. The human one, they said, would last around 8 to 12 years. So time goes by. When you're 18, you don't think it will ever go by. You think you have forever, but that's not the truth. So yeah, 13 years later, the valve run its course, and I had to get it replaced. So I got an artificial one this time, and there was complications with the surgery. I lost part of the electrical signal that gives you the second part of the heartbeat. So I had to get a pacemaker. And being an electrician, that's not what you want to hear. I was scared and I thought maybe that was a career destroyer. I just wasn't sure. I had to do a lot of reading about it. And I learned that I could still do my career with it, but there's was possibly going to be some things that I couldn't mess with anymore. Totally, well, things I couldn't mess with anymore. Let's just say that I knew that that was going to happen. Just it's hard to accept, especially I'm still a younger guy. Definitely don't want to have restrictions. Plus, it makes you less valuable to have restrictions on you. Plus, two, who wants a guy that's got to get blood work done all the time? And, it's just something I have to do. So, unfortunately, whenever I go to work somewhere, I have to say, hey, listen, this is me. I got to get blood work done. This is when I go. you know, I try to do it on a routine. When I got that big heart surgery last time, getting the new artificial valve and the pacemaker, after that, that just broke me financially because now I'm not 18 no more. I have a house, I have a family, kids. I have a stay-at-home wife. She takes care of the kids. I work and take care of all them financially, and I was out for the count. So yeah, that took a toll, and I had my basement set up similar to this. I had different TV, surround sound all on the walls, all kinds of stuff, and I sold all that stuff. I needed to feed my kids, but I got rid of all that stuff. I sold a lot of stuff. I sold all my video games, everything. And yeah, that hurt. And once I started to heal and I started, when I finally got back to my normal career, which actually took about 2 years to get back to my normal or not 9 to 5, but 7 to 3:30 is my normal hours. But, but you know what I mean. Yeah, by the time I got back to that, I wanted to get some of that stuff back. I wanted to set my basement back up because really it was empty. And it just became toys, kids' toys down here in storage. And I didn't like that, especially because I used to have it set up. And I used to hang out down here just like another living room. So that really hurt. So I was like, you know what? This time I'm going to do a little bit different. I think I'm going to, because I was always so plain, had everything so like sterile looking, just no clutter, just it's too neat. Everything is always too neat, and I like everything like that. But I was like, I'm gonna do something different for me. I'm gonna clutter it up, but I'm gonna make it a gaming room. I'm gonna put all kinds of game systems and just all kinds of collectibles down here. And I started amassing stuff for it before I got a TV again and all this stuff. And I did that for maybe about 6, 8 months, and then I had like a nice little pile of stuff, and I was like, I gotta finally like move in back into my basement and set it back up. I was like, I need to get a TV again and clean it out and just start putting this stuff around the basement and getting it set up. So that's what I did. I went out, I started setting it up, and yeah, it started coming together. But it was kind of empty still because I had a few things, but it still wasn't a lot. And I wanted to get more. So over time, I kept picking stuff up. And I was having a lot of fun doing it. And I was really liking the stuff that I was getting. And in the meantime, I'm like always online looking at gaming stuff, watching gaming shows. Right in the beginning, guys like RGT85 and Spawn Wave and Dreamcast Guy and a lot of those guys when they first were starting, Mad Little Pixel. I pretty much watched all them guys start from like nothing, and I pretty much was subscribed to them from like the very beginning, and I just watched their channels just grow and grow and grow. Wood from Beat 'em Ups. I mean, it's amazing to see where they are now, and it was just like wow. And I was just so into this stuff. That's all I did. Even when I drive to work, I have gaming news on. I'm listening to these guys. Watching Spawncast, Spawncast, where they all talk on Saturdays and stuff. I just like constantly video game nerd, all this stuff. Happy or yeah, the Happy Console Gamer. Love these guys. Great shows to watch. And there's a ton more I'm leaving out, but you get the point. A lot of these great shows on YouTube, and I'm seeing how they all work. And these are just guys like me, and they're just doing what they love, just talking about games. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. It's like, I wish I did something like that. But that was all. I just thought about it, and then people I worked with started like, oh, they'd ask me a question about something, and I would just rant and rant and rant. And they're like, man, why don't you start your own channel? You love talking about this stuff, and you're constantly buying this stuff and watching it. Why don't you start your own thing? And I thought about it. Nobody ever like said anything like that, and to me, and I was always very like quiet, quiet in the fact that I didn't talk about like I didn't expose myself to who I was exactly. I just let people know what I wanted them to know about me, and pretty much that was that. But something like this is more. I never did anything like this, so and I never thought I'd even do anything like this. But I'm collect. At this point, I realized that I was a collector. I started to amass a lot of stuff. I was getting all the old stuff I loved and always wanted back. And then I started to embrace that I was this person. I've always been a gamer, but now I was becoming, or was, a collector, because I had been collecting now for a couple of years, and I love doing it. And I'm just like made a thing to myself. I'm not going to sell my stuff no more. I'm just not. It doesn't have a price tag on it for me. It's just for me, and that's that. It's just for me to enjoy and my family, for me to play with my kids and just have a good time. So that's how I see this stuff. And then I was having, right before Christmas in December of this past December, I was with my daughter through the daytime. We finished last minute Christmas shopping. Then we went out to a nice lunch. We had a great morning, and I came home, finished wrapping some last minute gifts, and I was alone down here in my basement, and then I started to go upstairs. Before I made it to the steps, I just dropped. I blacked out, and I guess they heard my head hit the concrete, and there was a loud bang, and they wanted to check on me upstairs. And my daughter looked down the top of the steps, and there I was, purple in the face, and I was making weird noises. So she screamed, "Daddy!" And then my girl ran over, called 911, came down, started doing CPR on me. And at this point, after a bit of doing it, things were just getting not good. They were getting worse. And then I just left. She watched the light just leave my eyes. And that was that. Totally freaked out. I mean, I can't even imagine. She was horrified. And she said she started smacking me. And, then I take a little slight gasp for air again, and then she seen me go again, and then the paramedics came, and at this point I was dead. So here to find out what happened was, everybody has extra heartbeats, and my heart, from the extra heartbeat, it got into a strange rhythm. Yeah, I guess they call it an arrhythmia, something like that. Well, the rhythm was off. So instead of just beating like normal, it was just twitching real fast and not actually pumping blood. So I wasn't getting oxygen through my body and to my brain, and then that's why I blacked out. And I don't remember feeling sick or weird or anything. Just boom, I was down. And yeah, not a good situation at all. Especially my kids had to watch this, and that's something I never would ever want any kids to see, especially my own. or have that happen to, my wife. Just awful to have anything like that happen. But you can see I'm still here. So she did a great job. She by calling 911 and doing CPR, she saved my life. Because like I said, I was dead when she came here, or when they came here, and then they started doing their thing, and eventually, I guess they were hitting me with the defibrillator paddles, and they weren't getting anything. I was full cardiac arrest at this point, and I talked to the paramedic later, very nice guy, and he told me that they winded up, they do like a last ditch effort at the end. They turn the jewels all the way up, and then they hit you a couple last times. And I guess like one of the last times they went and hit me, finally they got a heartbeat. But he told my wife that I was gone. I was dead for almost 5 minutes, and I knew I was dead. And a lot of people have asked me, "Did you see something?" Yeah, I did, and it freaked me out. It still freaks me out, and yeah, very crazy. It's even weird to talk about. I can still envision it in my head to this day. It's actually hard to shake it, um, because I never thought of it as seeing a white light or anything, but I was in a black area. Just think of black space. And I did see a light kind of in the distance down off to the right, like kind of further away, but not super far, not like a tunnel or nothing. Just like a room off farther out to the right. And I don't know if I actually had a body. I felt like I did. I felt like myself. And I just kind of moved in from the left on an angle to the right. Just kind of hovered in towards this room or whatever. Like I was just drawn to it. I was going there. And as I got closer, I noticed that it was a room. And it was weird because it almost reminded me of like just like, it's super hard to explain because it's something that you wouldn't see here on Earth. Because like there was only a back wall and a right wall. Okay? And the walls were sort of transparent. Like I could see through them and I could almost see around them because the room wasn't that big. But they were sort of solid. Like they had, like there was colors and stuff. Like it almost looked like a wood grain pattern, like something, like yeah, almost like imagine the wood from my basement here, but darker. Kind of had that 80s vibe. And it kind of makes sense because maybe I see it as maybe it was a comfort spot for me. I was born in 1980, so I grew up in the 80s as a kid. So that would have been like a comfort area for me personally. And the weird thing is, I felt like a kid, even though I was an adult. Like, it was very weird and hard to explain, almost like the wonder of a kid, and like, not a familiar feeling of a kid, where everything's kind of new, a sense of wonder somewhat, but with an adult mindset in a way, because I felt like myself. But I wasn't scared. I wasn't no pain. Everything felt normal. But I knew I wasn't on Earth anymore. And the weird thing is, in this room with these like wood panel-ish walls, like I said, they were also sort of transparent. Like I could still kind of see through them, but they were sort of solid. Like it was definitely a room. But to the right in the corner, up against the right hand wall, there was like a TV stand with, like not a huge TV, but a modern TV sitting on it. So like something that maybe would have been comfortable for me, I suppose. And there was a table there, with a chair, and there was a person sitting there. It was a very small chair, just like or a very small table. Basically, a table where it was round, and you would just have like one or two chairs there. But just the one chair that I remember, and there was a person there, and I was talking with that person. Now, I cannot specifically remember who the person was, but I do remember talking with them. And the weird thing is, I remember telling them, because I did talk to them for quite a while. It wasn't like a sense of time, like I wasn't thinking about time or any of that kind of stuff. And it was almost just like it didn't matter. Um, but I was talking to this person and having a conversation with them for quite a little while. And I do recall specifically a couple times telling them I'm going back, like, and not asking them, not asking permission, and not kind of like I'm going back. Like I knew I was going back. It was a matter of fact. Like not a question, it was an absolute statement. And that's the thing, everything while I was there was absolute. Like I knew I was dead. And I even said that to them. Yeah, I know I'm dead. You know, it was like really hard to explain, but I knew I was dead, and I wasn't asking questions. I knew it was what it was. It's not like, I wasn't worried about it because it was something I knew I couldn't change. And just the way that I felt, it's like I already knew I couldn't change things. It just was like everything that was is because it was, and there was no changing it. Everything was a matter of fact, and that's how everything felt. So I wasn't scared. I wasn't worried. None of that. And I wasn't worried about time. And, I wasn't stressing about time. I almost didn't have the same emotions in a way. It was very odd and very scary, especially, thinking about it and coming to later, because when I knew something bad had happened to me while I was there, but I didn't know what happened. I just knew that I had died and I was not on Earth anymore. And I was in this room and I was talking to this person. And that's kind of what it was. But I knew I was coming back. I told them I was coming back, and I did come back. And when I came back, it was just boom, I was back. I was up. I was surrounded by my family, and I was totally freaked out. Why was I dead? Was I dead? Why was I dead? Like, it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. And wow, it was awful. Yeah, I can still totally picture the room, and nobody has to believe me. It doesn't matter. I have no reason to make this stuff up. Um, but it's something that happened to me, and I don't even think I can make something like this up. And nobody could tell me I was dreaming this because it's as real. It was as real as me talking to a camera right now. I mean, believe me, it was 100% real. And that's what freaked me out the most when I came to, is how real it was and that it happened. And it did happen. Because when I came to, I was dead. I had died. And I was back. I was in the ER. And wow, my mind was totally blown. I was super scared. And I couldn't believe that I almost lost everything. My kids almost lost their dad. My wife almost lost me. I almost lost her and them. It was just tough. Very tough. Still tough. A little tough to talk about. But anyway, so yeah, that's what happened to me. And after that, it was like, wow, you know what? Maybe I should start this channel because I might not get a chance to. And I really love talking about games. I love showing games. It's something I'm passionate about. And a lot of people that like I said, a lot of people my age or people I'm around, they don't care about games. They might just ask me for something they're buying for their kids. But it's a way for me to talk about something I'm passionate about and get some of my excitement out because I've always been super hyperactive and excited. So it's a way for me to kind of get that stuff out. But yeah, that's kind of that's pretty much how I got into this stuff. So that happened in December. So I started my YouTube channel, I guess, in May. That I really started it in May, and I really just started with my camera, just talking to it because I knew I had to get used to talking to a camera. That was going to be the hardest part for me because I've never did anything like that. So that's what I did, and I just started putting videos out and just putting them out like crazy because I wanted people to see them too. I get so excited when people watch them, when they comment. I just love it. So, um, yeah. So, yeah. Then I didn't want to have really bad quality stuff too. So I went out and I bought new computer, cameras, capture cards, all this stuff, microphones, all this stuff to basically make higher quality videos and editing software and try to learn how to put all this stuff together. So in the last 3 months, I've been just pumping out content, trying to figure out how to make all this stuff work and have it look and try to make it the best that I possibly can because I want to put out good looking content. I want people to enjoy it. And I hope, more people get to see my videos. That's my biggest thing is I would love to have more people see them and, hopefully people will see this. But yeah, so that's the video, guys. That's me. That's how I got into games from the beginning, collecting, trying to replace all the stuff that I got rid of through the years, and then all the stuff I wanted, and just, just doing something as a hobby, really, because it's a lot of fun. It's definitely lots of fun, and a way to, put some energy into stuff I'm passionate about. And that's too where the YouTube stuff comes from, and it's also a something fun to do. I'm enjoying doing it. I think it's fun to make videos, and it's a learning experience. And I think it's awesome when people see the content, and especially when they like it. That's probably the most gratifying feeling out of all of it. But I'm going to end the video there. I know it was a crazy video. Like I said, none of my videos are like this. This is the first time I ever did anything like this. So please check out some of my other videos. Definitely a lot lighter than this. But for any of the people that have followed my channel from the beginning, thanks so much. Other YouTubers, just friends, family, anybody that's been there with me, coworkers, subscribing, watching the videos, sharing stuff, helping me out. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And, some of my I got to thank my family the most. And some of my friends, my buddy Wolfgang, he do anything he could to help me out. So thank you, Wolf. I really appreciate it. And YouTuber, lots of emotions here, but I'm trying to think of his name. It's just slipping my mind at the moment, and I don't want to forget it. Contagious Collections. Thanks for watching my videos. And thanks for making videos because I like your content. Subscribe to his channel, guys. He makes good content, awesome pickup videos. He has cool collections. Sorry for forgetting your name for a minute. Like I said, crazy video. But I appreciate everybody that's watching, been there from the beginning, subscribing. My buddy Jared, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. But that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments. Man, I need some comments after a crazy video like this. And share it to other people so they could just hear this story for what it is. But that's the video, guys. I'm the War Train, and I'm out. And don't forget to subscribe. Take care.